Hey, good evening, everyone. This is Trader Tim. Today is July 24th, 2017. We're bringing you a Monday market analysis video from over at eminimind.com. Last week we touched and reached our target rather, of this most recent daily 50% retracement, the target being that negative 23% line or 20% beyond highs. If I'm to zoom out a little bit more, we can see this, market is on a tear and there's really no sign of slowing down, even with, this consolidation that we had for a month and a half. The larger trend is still intact. Now, we can draw a channel from lows up to highs, thereabouts. And, in addition to being up at the negative 23% target, we can see that we're at the top of the channel. What I like to do at this point when we reach a target is to draw up the next retracement on the daily, so from lows to highs. And I'm just going to get rid of this channel while we talk about this. And so a lot of the times, you get into this dilemma, or a question that I get a lot is, well, if the daily is in a bullish context, if we're moving up on the daily, is it okay to take short setups intraday? And the answer is yes. And sometimes what you'll get is a market that is moving down. For instance, if we were to start pulling back from these highs, pulling back to the next 50, which is a 24.39, that lines up with prior highs. So even though the daily might be pulling back, the larger context is we're moving down into a long setup. So just as, the daily bar, an individual bar might close bullish, there may be some great intraday setups that presented themselves as shorts in the morning, and it's perfectly okay to trade, what would be sort of considered a counter trend intraday to the daily chart. And again, sometimes it's because, yes, the daily chart might be bullish, but we might be in a temporary pullback. And so we might be trending down all day long, even for a couple of days. Or we might be just trending down for part of the morning in the context of a bullish close. So I always like to start by looking at the daily chart, kind of giving me some cue points or levels. These recent highs will now act as support. So this 24.39 area should be a solid support area. We could go sideways a little bit here, and it's certainly possible to continue higher as well. But you'll notice we touched the target, 24.75s, basically to the tick, and then sold off from there. Had a little bit of a pullback, a little consolidation up here. A very healthy looking market. When we get these larger moves up, a couple days of consolidation, then that follow through continues, another big leg up, and now at the target, potentially having a little bit more sideways action before getting a little rollover. But if the market does pull back, a 24.75 down to a 24.40, we'll call it, 35 points, that's not a very big pullback, but it may look a little scary at times when we get these bigger body candles in the mix. So don't let the larger down days scare you, because we're at this point just in the context of pulling back into the next daily long. Let's take a look at some of the top line figures. The S&P clearly moving into new highs, as we just saw on the ES, looking pretty healthy, as well as the volume on that run up has been lower, but not astronomically low. We'll be going into the month of August, and typically August can be kind of a crummy month. So we'll just see what happens. It's possible we go into a month of just sideways, very tight range back and forth. But at this point, things are looking pretty good. We've got some solid resistance below us. So even if we pull back to the recent highs and move sideways there for a couple weeks or for the month of August, still very strong, healthy market. The Dow also moving into highs, more of a sideways pattern is, you can clearly see, but still showing that longer term strength. And even if we were to go to, say, like a 5-year weekly, you can see, I mean, basically straight up, nice clean trend, no major pullback to really be able to pick out. Even if we go all the way back to a monthly chart, you can see, not until middle of 15 where you can see a larger move to the downside. Everything from 2016 and 2017 is so far has really been strong, solid upside. The Qs, Nasdaq breaking out finally, and showing a little bit of strength on board with the other markets. Some decent, consistent uptrend volume, no pullback here. You notice we did not come down and break that major swing low. That was my line in the sand I had drawn down here. And so if the market can pull back, put in a higher low, and then come up and break the recent high, that would be a very, very bullish move for the NASDAQ. And then the Russell starting to form somewhat of an uptrend here. Grab my trend line. Getting some momentum and starting to, show some strength. Not a huge range, but nonetheless, building a little bit of a base, moving higher, pulling back to that trend line, a little bit more of a consolidation, a base, and then moving higher once again. Volatility index, as you can probably guess, very low, still down in the low nines, and so you can set a, sort of a alert. If we were to see a spike up into the mid-teens, that would be the first sort of red flag in my book. If the market were to pull back, if the S&P pulls back, but the VIX really doesn't spike too much, then there's really not a whole lot to be worried about. Some individuals also looking strong. Google, big volume today, and really, just like the Nasdaq, coming up, breaking the previous swing high and encroaching right on that all-time high. Amazon coming into earnings. I had the upper line drawn here, sort of the resistance that we touched about 3 times, and then we broke that last week. And I would be cautious on putting a new position on into earnings, but Amazon is definitely one I'm watching. Netflix had a big gap and is moving higher. So I like Netflix. Maybe kind of consolidate a little bit or get some sort of a little pullback before adding to that one. Let's see here. Abbott, nice jump on earnings and then moving sideways. Been in a pretty nice trend. Let's see. And then Home Depot is one I've been in and out of, and that broke down last week. And you can see, because we kind of flattened out and then started to drift downward, we can draw that little channel up like so here, and now breaking down below that channel trend line. So a move back up to the trend line could be a potential short, big selling volume on the Home Depot. And then finally Apple. I've got my trend line drawn. Not quite up at its highs, but getting close. And still, I would make the high of this candle, any big body candle like this, coming up and breaking the high or the low is very significant. Just like I drew on Amazon. The high and low of this big body candle is really where sort of the action point for me would be. So keep that on your radar. The week ahead, looking for more good trading. We've got the live room on Tuesdays. You can check that out over at eminimind.com/VIP. I'm also doing a little bit of a little bit of one-on-one sort of coaching, mentoring sessions. If you're interested in that, you can shoot me an email. I've been working with a few traders each month, kind of going through specific things, reviewing trading plans, reviewing charts, talking through some of the psychological challenges, helping overcome maybe some of the fears behind pulling the trigger or hesitating and things like that. So if you feel like you're stuck and you want to chat more, feel free. My email is tim@eminimind.com. I hope everyone has a great week, and we'll talk to you soon.